Okay, so moving on. Speaking of streamers, speaking of streamers, tomorrow HBO Max is going to be reintroducing um, and rebranding themselves. They are finally going to be getting rid of HBO Max. We don't know what it's going to be, but it's fascinating because we're not the only ones, the consumers, we're not the only ones that watch streamers. Of course, everybody in Hollywood does. This is fascinating because Hollywood insiders are now talking about what streamers they like and they don't like. So this comes from Variety, and the headline reads: From glitchy HBO Max to overwhelming Amazon Prime videos, Hollywood insiders spill on their least favorite streaming interfaces. Television viewing has never offered consumers more agency. Through the streaming revolution has Though the streaming revolution has provided viewers with a dizzying array of television and movie choices, it has also led to a free for all in how the content is assessed across various devices. Every streaming service has added custom touches to its overall user interface: the tabs, the rewind button, and the fast forward buttons, and a myriad of other functions that viewers are in need in order to queue up their shows. From the ability to speak into the Apple TV remote microphone instead of using a search bar, to the fateful day when Netflix allowed users to shut off the bombardment of autoplay, homepage autoplay, the interaction that fans have with streaming services has come a long way. According to Hollywood insiders, who may have an even more critical eye than the average consumer about the screen time experience, more progress in the area of the user interface and user experience is needed as streaming takes root as television's dominant delivery platform. The next wave of this conversation will likely begin tomorrow, actually, on April 12th, as Warner Brothers Discovery raises the curtain on its plans for its combined HBO Max and Discovery streaming service. Boasting a huge library of television movies, HBO Max is one of the most used services on the market, but it has also sparked a lot of debate about its user experience. A query for HBO Max in the Twitter bar pulls up numerous expletive riddled rants about glitchy streamers and faulty rewind buttons. Warner Brothers Discovery Chief Financial Officer Gunnar Gunnar, I'm just going to call him Gunnar, admitted to a conference in January that the current service is, quote, subpar. He says, we're going to come out with a great product from a consumer experience perspective. And frankly, that's the biggest holdback for HBO Max right now, he said. The experience is not where it needs to be. So, where does that experience need to be? Variety spoke with 40 industry insiders about what they like, they don't like, and downright hate about using the major streaming platforms. For Peter Gould, co-creator and executive producer of Better Call Saul, the key is to having an easy way to get all the industry pertinent information he seeks. I love it when you have quick access to trailers. I love it when you can watch the end credits and see who's in it and freeze frame it without having to jump to the next episode. Sometimes there's not a way to do that, and that's a pain, he says, adding, I wish there was a standardized, quick way to turn on and off subtitles. Every once in a while, you go back a decoded line of and decode a line of dialogue. What we do in the shadows, writer and producer Paul Sims is unhappy with autoplay features. I like ones that don't make me mute my television, he says. Any streaming service that doesn't have pre-rolled ads yelling at me, I'm fine with. So he doesn't like the ad tiers either, huh? While Gould, Simmons, and other members of Hollywood are happy to discuss their features they like and dislike in the abstract, it's harder to get straight answers about which streamers they favor and which they hate, or at least which they try to find the lesser of many evils. They're all bad. They're all so terrible, says Stephen Schiff, a writer and executive producer on such series as FX's The Americans and Disney Plus's Andor. I don't want to say because I work for all of them, but they're all bad. Amber Ruffin, the multi hyphenate behind Peacock's The Andrew Ruffin Show, is one of the few to veracity endorse the digital architecture of her home team. I know this sounds like I'm a daddy's boy, but it's Peacock, she says when asked for about her favorite platform. Here's why. It tells you exactly where you left off on your favorite shows, but when you are scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, you don't know what to watch. Peacock has this alternative. It has a bunch of channels, and you can just watch as if you're scrolling through television. You have less of a chance, and it narrows it down. I love that. Variety surveyed sources from all parts of the industry, including the highs and lows, using Netflix, Hulu, HBO Max, Disney Plus, Paramount Plus, Amazon Prime Video, Discovery Plus, Apple TV Plus, and Peacock, strictly based on each of the platform's UI or user interface. Remember, this isn't a conversation about content itself, it's about the way consumers interact with it, with an app or a website during or after they watch the content. Much of the following is collected from insiders with current or previous work experience at the company in question. Users are baffled by the clunky experience provided by a major tech entity like Amazon through their platform Prime Video. In fact, the biggest consensus in the survey was that Amazon had the worst UX of all. For the company that innovated one click shopping, the interface still feels surprisingly TJ Maxx is one source. There's a bit of everything, but it's too hard to find the good stuff. You know what really pisses me off? Another source notes about HBO Max and Peacock, the latter of which received the most mixed reviews of a survey, voted as the second easiest platform to use and the second hardest to use. When you click on a title from the home screen, it immediately starts playing where you left off. While the feature seems an attempt to get consumers to their content as quickly as possible, users don't like having that decision made for them. Sometimes I fall asleep watching television, the source says. So I want to see the episode menu first. That makes it so annoying to find. Netflix was the most widely regarded as having the best UI, with several comments about how intuitive and aesthetically pleasing the platform was. But the common complaint about the company that started the streaming revolution in, is that it can throw too much at you. I think it's very badly curated, said a viewer. Right now, in their 2022 Emmy nominees category, they have Sunset next to Made. I get it. Selling Sunset is a Netflix original that I'm sure that they want to show off. But if I'm looking for Emmy nominated content, I'm probably looking somewhere more prestigious. For a brutally honest sampling of the industry's takes on the apps that steal the show, we are. Okay, let's talk about this because there's a lot to digest here. Wow. So the fact is this: they consider when these executives are actually watching this stuff because they're watching their own content, right? And the thing is, so here's like Netflix's user interface. Okay, so this is is the home play feature. As soon as that first screen comes up, it will automatically start to play, and that's what he doesn't like. I think, and I have a lot of these streamers, so I can really identify with some. Okay, um, HBO Max is good. I don't have no. I haven't been on HBO Max in a while. I haven't been on any streaming services in a while. But when I was watching The Last of Us, it was very easy to get to and from where I needed to be. That being said, I think that the leader is always going to be Netflix, right? Even though you have HBO Max, even though you have Amazon Prime. And I find it kind of funny though, with the person saying, "Well, it's kind of TJ Maxx, even though they're the ones that developed this, right?" Nonetheless, um, it's all a matter of because the ease of the UI or the user interface is going to dictate whether you get on, okay, or not get the streaming service or not. Um, this is why exclusivity is so important. Like I was talking about, HBO Max is one of those things where you can only watch The Last of Us, right? But if you had to go through all of this other stuff, you know, so look, Streaming services are not bad. They're not great. They're not bad. I hope that with this whole rebranding of HBO Max, okay, and Alex says it's reportedly just going to be called Maxwell. We'll see. I mean, I think you might have said it, or somebody else that might have said HBO Plus, that which would be good. But yeah, Max is fine. But the thing is, how do I know what's Max? I mean, do you see my point? There has to be some sort of HBO in there. Okay. Um, but I do think if I were going to pick one, I would say HBO Max myself. That being said, it's all fascinating because these insiders are actually users themselves. So they can critique their own stuff. And I found it humorous that one of them said they're all bad. They're all bad. You can't work with it. I mean, you know, it's one of those things where if you can't work, I mean, imagine working at Netflix for a minute, or let's say HBO Max, and actually having to say they're all bad. That's pretty funny. Um, anyways, yeah. So I mean, the streamers I have HBO Max. Okay, I have Peacock. What else do I have? I think I have one other streaming service. I might have Hulu. I don't know, but I definitely do have those two. So yeah, I mean, I didn't have any problem with it. I will agree with her on one thing. I do like the fact that you can just scroll down in Peacock. You can just watch the news, or even it's localized too. So you can go to Boston, for example, and WCB, what is it, NBC, and watch the news there, or you can watch the news and nightly news and whatever. So it's all interesting. The easier it is for people to navigate, the more people subscribe to the thing, and I think they're realizing that. What do you guys think about this? Do you guys think that first of all, which streaming services do you have, and do you think they're easy to navigate? If you could change any couple of things about the streaming service, what would you change about it? And how do you think HBO is really good? HBO Max is as it stands right now. How do you think they're going to do in the UI and everything else? Leave your thoughts down in the comments, and I'll get back to everybody.